Hello, everyone. Uh, Again, I appreciate the introductions, Aria. Nick, Sydney, Avery, Christopher, Andrew, Kate, Chris, Benjamin, Maxwell, and Nathan. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. I know this is an ideal situation, but at least we can meet virtually, and I can tell you a little bit about the finance program and answer your questions as we go along. Hope you're all well, your friends and family are well, and again, thanks for joining us. So I just wanted to quickly go over a little bit of a quick PowerPoint that we put together just about the finance program, and if you have any questions during the presentation, I'll be happy to answer them. So I'm just going to do a quick PowerPoint. Again, I apologize for the date on it is 2019 because I've been focusing on my current students in classes and advising and things like that. So let me share that with you right now. Okay. So again, I apologize for the Accepted Students Day 2019, but welcome.
Can everyone see?
Okay. Yes?
Can everyone see the PowerPoint? You could put in the chat as well.
Yeah, is it working?
I know I can't see it, so I just wanted to see if everyone.
You can't, okay.
I have it on for everyone to share.
Does that help?
I can't see it yet. Let me see. Not yet. Hold on. Are you hitting share and then are you selecting your screen?
Let me apologize for this.
Hey, we're all learning together. It's all fine.
Share screen. How's that?
I think you have to select. Oh, wait, what's happening? It's happening.
Did I do it right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Start from the beginning. So again, I apologize for this showing up as 2019. So a little bit about the finance program. And my own background is in engineering. I spent 10 years of education and practice in engineering, but in the late 1990s, may seem like ancient history to you, but banks and a lot of financial institutions were hiring engineers and scientists, mathematicians, physicists, men and women to get into the finance side to help them with the quantitative side. So I ended up getting my PhD at UMass Amherst. I did some consulting with Citibank and Deutsche Bank and smaller hedge funds, individual hedge funds to help with their asset allocations. So we all have industry experience. Dr. Michael Melton, he's a professor of finance and the director of the Center for Advanced Financial Education. That's our CAFE. That's our student investment managed fund that they manage $250,000 of real world money. Dr. Melton's really been very successful with this program and his students. They ranked nationally almost always in the top 3, and sometimes they win. So we're going to be talking about that program a lot because it is absolutely the essence of experiential learning. My own background, I told you a little bit about. I teach derivatives, and my research is on alternative assets. So rather than stocks, bonds, and real estates, things like hedge funds, commodity trading advisors, so companies that trade in gold and oil and things like that. So that's something I have. Dr. Mark Wu has worked with a big Asian bank called Nomura. And Dr. Ding also has some similar experience with working for a bank and experience in hedge funds. So all of us, again, have some industry experience as well as our terminal degrees in meaning a PhD in finance. So the general disciplines, corporate finance, investments, banking, real estate, fixed income should be on there. I'd say the strength of the program is definitely investments. For our students that come with us, join us, we really have a strong focus on investments and things like fixed income. I know stocks get all of the attention for a lot of reasons, but a lot of our students end up working in the fixed income side, meaning debt side. Global debt markets are 3 times the size of the world equity markets. Then if you add the derivatives on that, you're into trillions and trillions of dollars. So having faculty as advisors, so individual faculties, we spend a lot of time with students, helping them design the program they want. I was just speaking with a young man who's an applied mathematics major. He wants to get into finance, which is a fantastic option. So we're trying to design a program for him so he can dual major in applied mathematics and finance. So again, it can be geared to what your interests are, and especially lately with cross-disciplinary studies, might have an accounting major and a finance major. That's a strong candidate. So whatever your individual ideas are as far as how you want your education to go, we really try hard to make it happen for you. So the finance program itself has 4 core courses. Equity investments, that's typically known as investments. That's Dr. Melton's course, very popular with students. And from that course, he tends to choose the teams of students that are typically in the size of 10 per semester that then work in the CAFE, the Center for Advanced Financial Education. Financial statement analysis and valuation, international finance, and advanced financial management. So we've also got 5 elective courses. The portfolio analysis, that's the CAFE program. It is very popular. The alumni network for that is over 20 years, I think it's about 20 years worth of alumni network. And again, the students, we'll talk more about that, have really a real world experience, and they make their own decisions about which stocks to own. And they also take a preparatory course in that, technical analysis. I teach the financial derivatives. Dr. Wu teaches the fixed income securities, and Dr. Ding teaches the financial modeling. We also have some great adjuncts working in industry that teach personal finance, commercial bank management. We've also got internships that's not required, but most of our finance majors do an internship. So for instance, I'm working with an advisee this semester. She's having challenges, obviously, finishing her internship with Prudential, but we found a way to make it work. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that we have the Bloomberg terminals in the CAFE. These are the industry standards to get information, real-time quotes on you name it. They've got everything. We can also get certification in Bloomberg. The Certificate of Risk Management is also a program that we offer. We also have a business analytics minor, so the big data, and how to work with big data structures. Community partnerships are also very big at Roger Williams, and career planning seminars, the student FMA club, minors, all kinds of stuff that are happening. So these are some of the highlights. And again, I want to make sure that I have plenty of time to answer some of your questions. Okay, this is a little bit about the uniqueness of our program with the CAFE. It is really project-based experiential learning to academic programs where you really develop the skills and fundamentals to the investment industry, how to pick stocks, how to manage portfolios with different objectives. So a growth objective versus a value objective. And then they really do a great job of presenting this. So the increase in exposure to career opportunities through trips internationally and within the United States. and it's been a great job of preparing students for industry. We've had these students, we'll talk about what some of the relationships are with the businesses and what some of our former students have gone on to, but you can see in the background in that picture, that's a big screen of Bloomberg terminals and various other things. So that was Dr. Melton over here to the far left. He is the director of that and wrote a really nice grant to expand the center, the Cafe Center, to really include most of the first floor of the business school. So it's really quite something. So again, some of the differences about the student investment managed funds at other schools versus what we do here. Typically other programs trade one portfolio. We have two real dollar portfolios. This is $270,000 worth of real money. Students don't inherit the portfolio from the previous semester, so they start with their stock allocations and their stock picks from each semester. The active management, they execute their own trades via Ameritrade. At other programs, it's typically a passive management where they don't execute their own trades, or if they do, they must answer to a board of director or advisors. And then they don't tend to deal in real time, and they need extended time to get trades approved, and they don't travel as much. So these are some of the unique highlights. Students really manage their own money here, or the $250,000 of the university money. And there is always a domestic travel and an international program every semester where the students go abroad. This fall, the students went to Dubai, and in the spring, they were supposed to go to Tokyo, but unfortunately that trip had to be postponed. So this is the students from last fall presenting to a panel of industry professionals, as well as parents and some faculty, their portfolio. So they do a fantastic job. It's extremely professional. They get exposure to industry professionals through this. And believe me, this works very well for students, at least to get to know some of the professionals and do some networking. The international travel is supported through support of a very generous donor to the program supporter, Hans Christensen. They have traveled again to London, Zurich, Frankfurt, Prague, Edinburgh, Reykjavik, Iceland, Hong Kong, Beijing, Shanghai, Dubai, Tokyo, and Athens, and then up to Montreal. Domestic travel, they will present to the Federal Reserve Banks, the Chicago Board of Trade, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and various private companies in New York, so including Gabelli Asset Management Company. So they're nationally ranked. Again, in 2014, they were national champions. I've been here with the program most this entire time, and they've just done fantastic in these national programs. These are competing with schools that you know very well. I won't name them, but they're even against some graduate students. They end up competing against them and at least holding their own with them, if not beating them. So it's been extremely successful, and Dr. Melton has worked very hard with this, as well as the students in the program. So I just want to end here. These are some of the relationships we've had where former students have gone on to BlackRock, State Street, Edward Jones offices have been opened up several times by a couple of students. Fidelity, Sovereign, Royal Bank of Scotland, Recon Capital Partners was started by a couple of students, former students, and they have been very, very successful. So these are just some of the relationships that we have. Students don't have to go into investment. A lot of students do end up working in the debt market, in something as esoteric as the collateralized loan obligation market, which you may not even know what that is. But I was talking with a former student that did get into that. And there's a lot of students in the debt market too. So they work on the debt side rather than just the equity side. So that's a quick presentation that I wanted to show you and just answer, open it up. I'd like to open it up to some questions if you have any for me, if I can answer any of your questions. How do I get back to the...
Let's see.
All right.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Feel free to use the chat feature, or you can say out loud anything you're wondering about. I know some students typically have the question of switching a major or concentration, if like, or do most students even kind of double up on the concentrations within business, or what other majors, maybe finance or minors, is it usually paired with? That usually some things that come up. Do you have an idea about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Also the professional certifications, I wanted to mention that students, when you take your professional certifications, like your Series 7 exam, which is your basic securities license, you need to be sponsored by a company for that. But all of the courses, like for instance, the derivatives course that I teach, all the students have taken that, have passed their Series 7 exam, and life insurance has other exams. We prepare the students well for those professional exams, including the securities industry essentials exam, which is a new one started by the FINRA, which is the Financial Regulatory Board for Finance. And yes, we're seeing a lot as far as double majors. We're seeing a lot of double majors of, I mentioned this, Zariah, this to you before, that for those students that are willing to take the grade point average hit, really trying to push mathematics, as much mathematics as possible for students, they will take 5 courses in mathematics and take a 6th one and get a minor in mathematics, and it helps them in the end. And all of the students that have taken that, they've done that. But we've also got marketing majors combined with finance. We've got accounting and finance is a big, strong pairing of studies.
Yeah.
And also seeing a lot of computer science. Students want to do computer science, but I think the problem with getting heavily into computer science or cybersecurity and networking is that, in finance, is that students get a little confused as to which direction they want to take their career in. Do they want to focus on computer science or on finance? And at some point you do, at least early on in your career, have to choose one versus the other. So it's
We do have a question in the chat here. Okay. Interest per year, how many students are admitted to the CAFE program?
Oh, that's a great question that we get all the time. It's 10 students per semester, including 2 managing directors, which are former students. And there is now, I believe Dr. Melton has added an overall managing director. So there's 2 assistant directors from previous semesters, as well as a managing director. So a total of, I believe, 13 per semester. And those managing directors they change with time, and they can stay on if they want to. It depends on interest. So 10 per semester, fall and spring, and then 10 either once or twice in the summer sessions. So a total of 40 a year, not including the managing directors and the assistant directors, so the ADs, assistant directors. So I have yet to see a student that really wanted to get into the CAFE program that wasn't able to fit it into their program at some point between their junior and senior year. The way that students make their application is by taking investments with Dr. Melton. And really, Dr. Melton is, I think this is fair to say, I don't want to speak for him, but he's trying to build a team that works well. Teamwork is so essential in this program. And it's something that it really looks for and is willing to do the work. There is a lot of work that these students do. So they make their applications and through investments. That's required of all finance majors. And then if you're a math minor or a math major, you can take investments, and that's how you get into it. So yeah.
Oh. Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions that I can answer for you? No?
Okay. I know one question that also does pop up is if students, when they're pursuing their internships, some stick with a company for like all, 3 to 4 years, or do some like kind of hop around?
Right.
What has you seen as being popular, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of students will. I mean, I had one student that was doing energy trading. So he was doing energy trading with a company doing sales side. And he found that through that, he didn't like to sell. He didn't like to sell products. And that was worthwhile in itself. So he didn't stick with it. And he was able to say, all right, I do not want to be on the sales side. So other students do go right from, for instance, their internship at State Street. They'll go right in and be offered a job. Most of the students I know, Emma Forte has, I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have mentioned her by name, but she worked in a medical field in the biotech side. And they offered her a job right away, and she just wasn't sure. She wanted to look at what our other opportunities were. So yeah, these are great opportunities to work in the field of finance for companies that aren't specifically focused on finance, like a Fidelity or a State Street.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other thing come to mind? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Professor Mackey. We really appreciate you giving the highlights, and it's certainly a wonderful program, and we thank you for sharing it with our accepted students. I know they certainly do appreciate it.
Sure. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me, and it's at my email, smacky@rwu.edu.
That's easy.
And I'd be happy to get back to you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Any other questions, please feel free to reach out to him, admissions, etc. We're certainly here to help. Okay. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.